Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. Oh gosh, how do you follow that, Mel? Thank you for putting me next to Mel, where I'm on the brink of tears. Oh, I'm not going to cry. But listen, this is a personal journey. And I would, you know, say to you guys, we've had some phenomenal speakers, but this story, this 10 minutes is my story and it is personal to me, but hopefully it will resonate with some of you or somebody you know. Okay, so I'm going to put us all into a time machine now and take us all back to January 2021. My once thriving utility warehouse business was on its absolute knees. We'd had a million lockdowns, and all these lockdowns will have consequences on any business. So last time I checked, I couldn't really gather any new clients. Telepathy wasn't a thing. So I was scratching for business by sending messages to family and friends, and indeed existing customers, in the hope that someone may offer me a break in terms of referrals. I was networking online, but absolutely hating every minute of it. Yes, I hated networking. I was so desperate. It probably showed. Furthermore, I had a mere 60 seconds to get my point across to a screen full of strangers who, quite frankly, by the signs of their body language, they wanted to be anywhere but there with me. I can't say I blame them. I didn't want to be with me either. I was angry. I was angry with everyone. If you had a pulse, I wanted to pick a fight with you. I was a deeply, deeply unhappy woman. Now, as a nation, we were all in the same boat, right? We all seemed like we were in permanent lockdown. Now, being a mom of 2 children, homeschooling, as a business owner, working from home, as a wife whose husband had decided he was doing his master's during COVID, that was a massive test on our relationship. I felt like the walls were closing in. Home was no longer a cozy environment. It felt more like a prison sentence. I was deeply, deeply unhappy. I hit rock bottom when I attended one of my first networking meetings in January after Christmas, as Boris had announced, I'm going to be homeschooling again. And instead of delivering my 60 seconds, I burst into tears in front of maybe 20, 25 business owners. Wow. I think I'd hit rock bottom. I was horrified. Needless to say, I jumped off that Zoom link quick as a flash, never to be seen again. This was the end of me online networking journey, my online networking journey. It was the end. That was it. Or so I thought. There was one person that I hadn't managed to fall out with or offend, and that was our very own Dawn Owen. So I knew Dawn through BNI for a few years now, and we were friends on Facebook. We kept in touch on Facebook, where she had requested I join this closed group, this closed community entitled Circle Networks. Each day I would jump on social media like you do, scroll through Facebook, and I would see this invitation on Facebook and I'd just swipe, ignore, sorry, Dawn. But one day I decided to accept the invitation and I liked the content. It appeared all very supportive, but I was never going to network again. No, not online, never again. Soon after, I received a message from Dawn and we caught up a bit, and she suggested that there was an online networking meeting on Thursdays called Circle Networks. I had no idea. And I don't know what happened, but I agreed. I found myself saying yes. I will never forget my first meeting. It was hosted by the lovely Michelle, and I remember sat on that Zoom, desperately lonely, trying with all of my might not to cry. So we headed into our first breakout room. My palms were sweaty, my mouth went dry, my 60-second speech was all crumpled in my hand. And this is where I met another huge support for me in 2021, Jamie Stewart. Jamie told us in the breakout room, there'll be no pitching, We don't do 60 seconds here. You've got 4 minutes to talk about yourself. Let's hear who you are when you're not working. Tell us a bit about what you do and how we can help you. I gulped, thinking, I'm going to cry all over them. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. You know, like, I'm showing my age now. Stan Laurel, Laurel and Hardy, the bottom chin, it was going. But when it was my turn to speak, it was so refreshing to see people actually leaning in to hear what I had to say, and to see, you know, me for who I was, the woman behind the business. I was elated. This was my crowd. My biggest problem was keeping to my 4 minutes. You could not shut me up. Needless to say, after my first meeting, I found myself at home. This was my tribe. I contacted Dawn straight away and asked, how do I join? Where do I sign up? What do I do? At this point, what I loved was the support. I wasn't just a bum on a seat or indeed a number. I had regular one-to-ones with Dawn, Jamie, Michelle. Now, this led me to meeting some of the most wonderful people. This is where I met a man who, little did I know, would change my whole world as I knew it. You might know him. I met David Moss. I will never forget our first one-to-one. David may want to forget, but I literally cried all over him. I poured it all out. I treated him like a therapist. You know, I just poured out everything. Now, on the occasion there where I wasn't blowing my nose or crying, David said something very, very strange. When I told him that what I did for a living, because that's the point of a one-to-one, right? You talk about your business, I talk about my business. When I told David what I did for a living, he said, I don't really see you as a utility warehouse distributor. I see you as a coach. Now, at this point, I have to say I was really quite offended. Knowing what I know now, my annoyance wasn't at David, but indeed with myself, because he had forced me to look into the mirror, look at myself and own up to who I was, where I wanted to be, and what I really wanted to do. Now, this encounter didn't go in vain. We kept engaging. We had regular one-to-ones. And by May, I decided to work with David and his business partner, Sean, and train for my NLP practitioner accreditation. Why? Well, because I wanted to work on me. It was time to stop blaming the world, stop being that angry woman, and take a good stark look at myself. And they always say, it starts with you, you know, the man in the mirror, the person in the mirror. So I'd also like to add that at this point, my personal development journey, the self-development journey, had already started. It was very, very real, as by now I was not only a member of Circle Networks, but I had my own license and I was running my own group every fortnight. Now, those of you know me, I was never one to speak in public. I loved the format. I believed in the people, and being an entrepreneur, I knew the importance of supporting one another. So this was a no-brainer. When it was offered to me, I took it. It was like a Richard Branson moment. I thought I'd say yes and learn to do it, because those that know me, every time anybody's mentioned public speaking, I've recoiled. And now look at me, I'm running my own group. Who the hell am I? Who am I? So I was fully involved in every sense of the notion that I was truly working on me. So once I'd completed my practitioner qualification, a little voice in me became very, very vocal and said, you can't just stop there. This is now greater than you. Keep going and study hard for your master practitioner, and you will help so many others who are just like you. So now I'm here to tell you that that invite to one virtual networking meeting has absolutely transformed my life. I don't even recognize who I am in a really, really good way. Complete change. It is 12 months on and it is January 2022. And I am super excited for the future as I launch my coaching business. I live my life with purpose. excited for the future as I launch my coaching business. You know, I absolutely love the woman I am today. And dare I say, I'm madly in love with myself. And that is huge. I've always put other people first. I've always been a people pleaser. A very good friend of mine who I had a one-to-one and business lunch with yesterday actually said to me, and she's on this call today, there is real power in saying no rather than yes. And that is so true. You know, we are all business owners. We are all only too aware of how lonely it can be to be an entrepreneur, but making the right choices and mixing in the right circles, it can change everything, absolutely everything. We've all heard the saying that we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Well, you should see my favorites list in my phone on my speed dial: David Owen, Jamie Stewart, David Moss, Sean Hill, Michelle Jones, Sarah Jones, the list goes on, Chris Puddy. Some might say I'm a lucky girl. I would say not at all. I made a choice exactly 12 months ago, and that decision to attend a networking meeting, an event, has absolutely led me to exactly where I'm supposed to be.